sounded to me was that she seemed a bit broken, or she had unresolved issue prior to getting married. Prior to getting married, if you pay attention to her, if you pay attention to her mannerisms and you pay attention to what she's saying and how she's laying it out, she's like, I didn't have the best of counsel in my corner. And I'm like, why is that? Why don't you have people in your corner that want the best for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you with people who are going to drag you down? Which made me question. It's like, maybe you weren't in the best state of mind, or you weren't in the best emotional state, prior to getting married. It seemed like there were things that you didn't clear out your closet prior to moving into that next chapter of your life, which also makes me wonder, um, did they go to marriage counseling before they got married to kind of iron out things, before they walked down that aisle? There's so many questions about, you know, those milestones in the relationship prior to walking down the aisle that could have helped, clear out any obstacles that could have, derailed the relationship, or in this case, derailed the marriage. She seemed a little bit emotionally weak. I don't think it was gaslighting. I don't think she was gaslighting. However, the thing that I thought she was kind of shifting, like, I just didn't have the best corner. It's like, wait a minute. At what point did you ever stop to sit to yourself and be like, yo, I got to think about my life a little bit closer. I got to think about the friends who I have in my corner. I got to think about the things who I share intimately with other people who I think that value, who bring value to my life, right? Into my relationship, marriage, etc. Right? Like, at what point did you sit? Good that you good that you acknowledge and took accountability for that point, but at what point did you do some self-reflection for yourself and for your needs? You know what I'm saying? Forget anybody else. What did you do for yourself in order to get to that state where you can ensure that you didn't allow outside influences or outside pressures, to cave in your marriage? And one of the things that JR brought up, which is kind of interesting too, that I really, really like, we talk about anniversaries, we talk about celebrations, but why do people wait a year to celebrate their anniversary? Every week, every month is a celebration. We made it through the day. We woke up together today. We made it through the week, and we're still here together. We made it to the month, which is, here's another milestone. Like, every month, there should be a momentary anniversary to kind of remind you of what you guys started and what you embarked upon, right? Why are you waiting a whole calendar year to be like, we made it a calendar year, like, now let's celebrate? No, every day is a celebration. And I think that as soon as we change the perspective as a culture collectively, right? From celebrating from a year to celebrating every week and celebrating every month, right? And it doesn't have to be anything big or elaborate. It has to be those small things that really bring back to why you're together and why you've elected to do life together, right? Those things that constantly reinforce the positive, right? The positive moments and the positive attributes that have, forged this relationship or marriage, right? And there begins to kind of dissipate and cut down the negativity. You'll see less negativity coming out. Even if he annoyed you a few days ago, that weekend when you're together, you're like, fuck, I was tripping. I don't even know why I was even mad anyway, man. Like, I'm bugging. You know what I'm saying? That just goes right out the window, right? But you need that constant positive reinforcement in those milestones, because they remind you of why you're together and why you're making life work together, right? I think sometimes we tend to want to hover our relationship around these superficial holidays and stuff like that, like the Valentine's Day and whatnot. Every day is a Valentine's Day. Every month that you're together is a Valentine's Day. And that should be something that should be celebrated. And unfortunately, in our culture, we don't do that. We're so focused on trying to align ourselves or simulate to whatever propaganda or ideal of culture that is, as opposed to aligning something that is best for your relationship. How you?
All right, go ahead, Hank. Well, I mean, this pushes what I'm saying. She surrounds herself with bad friends, and she took bad advice from her friends. But unfortunately, she took no blame in herself. She blamed her friends and did everything. But your friends didn't make you or twist your arm and put a gun to your head to go get the divorce. You chose to.
Facts, Hank.
So you have a lot of people trying to keep up with everybody else or what everybody else is doing. Look, one of the worst things, ladies, you can do is try to compare your man or a man try to compare his woman to someone else. That's the worst thing you can do because they'll never live up to whatever you're trying to compare it to. Or well, such and such to come to the Cheesecake Factory, but you just trying to take me to Applebee's. Why can't you take me to Applebee's like Tony did? Stop doing it. Maybe that's just not within this budget. So he's trying to do the best he can, or she's trying to do the best you can, you know, whatever they're doing. So people just need to stop trying to compare to other people. No, be the best version of you. Allow your woman to be the best version of her. So yeah, as far as anything else, look, I don't think she really cares about even get back with him. If she had an opportunity, I think she wants to get back in the limelight. She's not even relevant anymore. Like I said, a lot of y'all people didn't know she was Tyree's wife. But when she was, you probably had an idea when he was at the red carpet, maybe for his, latest Fast and Furious. I don't know what they on 11, 12, 13. I don't know what they on now. But she was probably at the latest at there if she would have still been married. But now she's irrelevant. Now she's just out here doing struggle interviews, begging and sharing her story with anybody. But instead of trying to maybe possibly getting in Tyree's ear, hey, what do you think about bringing our family back together? You don't have to go or do that in public. You don't have to go do interviews to do that. You could call the man. I'm sure you got his number. I don't think he changed the number. And if he did, you find a way to get in touch with him. To try to, how about we come together? Let that be your story.
Right. Then come out with that.
This
You
other
got to do
Yeah,
that.
she
talking about.
definitely giving Jada Pinkett right now.
It's pitiful, man.
Anybody else want to add
Picked up
anything?
the phone. They probably
I do. Can you put the tag back before emotions will only have you focusing on the negative? I am gonna disagree, and I'm gonna disagree because if you're emotionally mature, which a lot of people are not, um, it seems to me that she's not very emotionally mature. You have to celebrate the good as well as examine the bad. And that's just how I was brought up. So I don't think emotions automatically make you go left. They shouldn't anyway. I think people that have been counseled, that have been somewhat educated and have been somewhat through therapy for their trauma can differentiate good emotions and bad emotions and celebrate good ones and not let bad emotions lead you down a negative pathway. Now depression is real, don't get me wrong. But this statement seems like a depressive standpoint, and maybe she is depressed, I don't know. But emotions in general, there's just such a huge spectrum of emotions in humans that to say that emotions themselves just drive you to negativity is absolutely absurd to me because there's so much other things to celebrate, like Louise said. Like, the small victories are what keep us going day by day. So why does why does the dramatic have to be, oh, now I'm gonna go left and be negative and he this and he that? Unfortunately, though, a lot of women are dramatic, and the emotion that they focus on is the one that gets them the most attention, and that's when people feel sorry for them, right? So, me being older than I look, you have to mature in your emotional reading and how you feel, and whatever emotion that you feel, whether it's good or bad, you need to evaluate it and try not to let it take you down a bad path and not psych yourself into a negative standpoint. Because I know people that'll have a good emotion and then find a way to twist it into something negative, and that's a sickness. I think you should. I'm a firm believer in seeking out therapy. And just like JR said, you should vet your therapist. The first thing that your first therapy session should be you asking most of the questions. I'm just putting that out there for our people in the back.